If you've been keeping up with international news, you probably know that lately the world has been crazier than Rudy Giuliani on LSD. To be honest, there's so many protests going on around the world right now that we just don't have the time to cover them all. Luckily for us, not enough time is just the right amount of time for a segment we call Ain't Nobody Got Time for That. All right, let's kick it off in Hong Kong, where the pro-democracy protesters are also getting into the Halloween spirits.
Well, to Hong Kong now, where police fired tear gas to break up protests on the Halloween holiday. Crowds of protesters blocked a major road before police came in. The anti-government demonstrations targeted a popular party district in the city for the first time. Well, at times the protesters blended in with people wearing Halloween costumes. Protesters and partygoers alike were not deterred by a city-wide ban on face masks.
Okay, you gotta admit, that's a pretty genius move for the protesters to blend in with regular people celebrating Halloween. Yeah, because the police can't tell the difference between protesters and trick-or-treaters. Yeah, sort of like starting a fight club in the middle of Boston. You don't know, is this an illegal fight? Or just the usual Dunkin' Donuts parking lot fight? You don't know. Now, what's interesting is that the protests in Hong Kong originally began because of an extradition bill. But now they've snowballed into a protest about Chinese rule over Hong Kong in general. Because you see, protests are a lot like arguments in relationships. You say it's about the dishes, but really it's about something bigger. You know, like you don't communicate well, or you hooked up with your mother-in-law, you know? Yeah, you said I should get along with her. Now, if we had more time, we could talk more about the difficulty they had reintegrating post-colonial Hong Kong into mainland China, but we don't have the time, because Hong Kong isn't the only region trying to move out of its parents' house.
Barcelona, Spain saw more than 500,000 pro-independence protesters last week. They're frustrated over the jailing of 9 Catalan politicians for their role in the Catalonia independence movement 2 years ago.
They don't speak for the majority because the support for independence is not majoritarian.
Yes, Spain is in turmoil right now because the region of Catalonia is demanding its independence. And the chaos has been non-stop, although it is Spain, so they take a little siesta in the middle of the fights. That's what they do. I'll be protesting in my dreams. Ah! Ah! Now, if this feels like deja vu for you, you're not wrong. Barcelona experiences these protests every couple of years. In many ways, independence movements are like movies about the Joker. You think they're over, and then boom, there's a new one about a guy who hates climbing steps. I haven't seen it yet. I think that's what this is about. Now, with more time, we could get into how this independence movement is driven by Catalonia's feeling that they pay a lot more in taxes than they get back from the central government. But no tenemos tiempo, because over in the Caribbean, the country of Haiti is running out of gas and patience.
A crippling fuel shortage is sparking protests in Haiti. Gas stations have been on empty for days.
Thousands have taken to the streets to demand the president stand down.
Catholic Church leaders have joined protesters calling for political reform. Thousands took part in a peaceful rally in the capital, Port-au-Prince.
Yes, over in Haiti, a severe fuel shortage has sparked one of the nation's largest protests. And although the music and dancing may confuse you, this is a protest. No, because I know there's at least one white couple there on vacation that's like, look, honey, it must be carnival. Throw me some beads. That's what I love about being black, I'm not gonna lie. Even our protests have rhythm. Like, those people are fighting, and it's like, yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but Soul Train started as a protest against bike lanes. That's how it all began. And by the way, if I were in Haiti's government, I'd be very afraid that the Catholic Church has now joined this protest. Because nobody holds a grudge like the Catholic Church. I mean, it's been like 6,000 years, and they're still mad at that snake. They don't play around out there. Yeah, you're like, he gave someone an apple, move on already. And on a day with more time, we could delve into how these protests in Haiti aren't just about fuel, but also about rampant corruption across the Haitian government, but we just don't have the time. Because anti-government protests are even hitting one of the most stable countries in Latin America, Chile.
In Chile, a 4% rise in subway fares was enough to bring 1 million people to the streets. Stores and subway stations torched. The government forced to declare a state of emergency.
While people were in the streets in Chile, the Chilean president was seen dining at an upscale restaurant. These are the type of things that seem to make people crazy.
Yep. While the Chilean people are protesting about not being able to afford basic services, the president was dining at a fancy restaurant. Talk about being tone deaf. You can't be eating fancy food in front of your struggling people. You should be using Uber Eats. You get that shit delivered. Come on. Now, the frustration in Chile reached a tipping point when the government announced an increase in subway fares, which makes sense, right? These types of moves always affect the working class more because rich people don't need public transportation. They don't know what it's like to be stuck on a hot, crowded train sitting next to a subway masturbator. They don't know. No, rich people, they take those fancy limousines with air conditioning and they sit next to a fancy limousine masturbator. Ooh la la! Now, if we had more time, we could talk about how Chile shows that civil unrest is an inevitable byproduct of extreme inequality, but we can't get into that because we have to make time for one of the biggest protests in the Middle East, where the people of Lebanon took to the streets to demand the removal of their prime minister because they accused him of enriching himself at the expense of his citizens. Now, the demonstrations have gotten so intense that the prime minister has stepped down. But one of the most heartwarming things that happened was when a mother and her child found themselves surrounded by protesters. And the protesters noticed the child in the car was freaked out, and they worked to make things right.
Protesters outraged over Lebanon's crumbling economy completely changed their tune when they encountered a mother who said her 15-month-old son was scared. It's right in the middle of a protest, a spontaneous rendition of Baby Shark.
Oh, man. That is so adorable. The only problem is now that song is going to be stuck in the protesters' heads. It's going to ruin the rest of the protest. They'll be like, Lebanon, we want reforms, lower tax, you're corrupt. Now, you may have noticed that all these protests all over the globe have things in common. Corrupt governments, social inequality, and ineffective leadership, which might be a warning to all the leaders of the world. If you don't start really listening to your people soon, they might not have time for you either.